ओम ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्ण पादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान् सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायिने गौरत्विषे नमः। पंचतत्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकं। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। जन्माद्यस्य यतोऽन्वयादितरतश्चार्थेषुभिज्ञस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्म हृदय अधिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत् सूरयः। तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। स्वस्ति अस्तु विश्वस्य खलः प्रसीदतां ध्यायन्तु भूतानि शिवं मिथो धिया। मनश्च भद्रं भजतादधोक्षजे आवेश्यतां नो मतिरप्यहेतुकी। तो हम आरंभ कर रहे हैं गीता प्रवचन।
We are starting Gita class, second chapter, verse verse 21 translation. O Arjun, how can a person who knows the self to be imperishable, eternal, birthless and immutable cause anyone to be slain or kill anyone?
तो भगवान श्री कृष्ण जो उपदेश पहले दिया था उसी की
Whatever Bhagavan told earlier, he is continuing to explain that. So his point is that Atma is imperishable, immutable, nobody can kill it, nor can Atma kill anyone.
हम जो कार्य करते हैं
Whatever activities we perform, it has a karta, the doer, or the agent doer.
और जो क्रिया है उसका कुछ फल होता है, फल को
And the kriya, the activity, it has a phala, the result, that is karma.
जो मारने
So if somebody kills another person, so then the person who is killing, he is the doer of the activity of killing. And the one who is getting killed, he is the karma of that activity, the result. So Bhagavan is telling that this activity of killing, Atma is neither the doer of that activity, the karta, nor can it be the karma. So here there are two usages. Hanti means to kill, and ghatayati, one who gets killed. So how can it get killed? So who kills and who gets killed?
कर्ता स्वतंत्र इत्युक्त हेतु कर्ता प्रयोजक प्रयोजक अधीन कर्ता प्रयोज्य इति त्रिधा। तीन हमारे व्याकरण की दृष्टि के अनुसार कर्ता के
According to Vyakaran, the karta has been divided in three categories. One is independent karta, the independent doer who is acting on his own without being told by somebody. Like if you are hungry and you eat and you say I'm eating, then you are independent in the activity of eating. If you like, you eat. If you don't like, don't eat. Nobody is forcing you to eat. This is on your desire. You take the decision that I will eat at this time. So all the activities that the karta, the doer, is doing on his own without being told by another person or being ordered or by being pressurized by somebody else or being requested by somebody else, there the karta doer is independent. The karta, the doer, can do it, or if he wishes, we may not do it, or he can do it in some other way also. It depends on his desire. In that case, he is called the independent karta, the independent doer. Then the other is the prayojak karta. That means there the karta, the doer, is not doing it himself, but getting the work done by somebody else. That's why Bhagavan says here ghatayati. Ghatayati means he is getting the person killed by somebody else. Hanti means he himself is the killer. Ghatayati means he employs somebody else to get that person killed. So the order that he gives to the other person or engages the other person in that activity, so then he is known as prayojak karta. And when the other person is doing that activity by being ordered or asked by the prayojak karta, then the person who is killing is known as the prayojya karta. So here Bhagavan is telling that Atma is neither the Swatantra Karta, the independent doer, nor the Prayojak Karta who is asking the other person to kill, nor the Prayojya Karta who is killing on the order of the Prayojak Karta. But if we say that if Atma is not the Prayojak Karta also, but we also see that the body is functioning, we see that people kill each other and then we say that this person killed the other person. So we understand that the body is functioning. All the activities that happen, they happen according to the body. Mental, verbal or physical. So then how can we say that it is Atma is not the Prayojak Karta also? You have to accept him as Prayojak, because then if Atma is also not acting, body is also not acting, then who is acting? Because activity happens. We cannot negate that activities are happening in our life. We are eating, we are walking, we are drinking, we are hearing. So we say that we are hearing, we are eating, we are going. So there, the karta is there, the doer is there. So then how can we say that there is no karta only? How is that possible? This question will arise definitely. Bhagavan is telling that, O Arjun, how can a person who knows the self to be imperishable, eternal, birthless, and immutable cause anyone to be slain or kill anyone? So here he is telling that Atma neither kills nor engages another person to kill. So that means Atma is neither the Prayojan Prayojak Karta, nor the Swatantra Karta, not the Prayojak Karta. Atma is none of them. So then the question will arise that if Atma is none of them,
आत्मा तो स्वयं जीवित वस्तु नहीं है, तो फिर ऐसे कैसे संभव है कि आत्मा भी नहीं करता है और शरीर भी
how is that possible that Atma is also not the doer, body is also not the doer, because body cannot do activity on its own.
जैसे किसी देश की जो सेना होती है,
Like there is some army in a country, the army does not attack on the other country on its own.
भीड़ इकट्ठी है, तो
Like
पुलिस
if there is some
ऊपर से आदेश नहीं आता है कि आप
crowd somewhere,
ये
and if the police does not order that you would the water bullet or anything, then
सेना या पुलिस कहीं पर गोली चला रही है,
but if the army or police is shooting somewhere, that means they are doing it on order. So whoever has given the order is the Prayojak Karta,
गोली चला रहे हैं या
and those who are shooting actually they are the
शरीर कार्य कर
Prayojak Karta. So like if the body is acting,
क्रिया मारणानी
and Bhagavan also says
के सब कार्य जो है होती है,
that all activities are happening under the three modes,
शरीर या
the three gunas,
जड़ है,
but the Prakriti is inert,
कार्य नहीं
and inert matter cannot act on its own.
आप कहते हैं कि आत्मा भी
And you are telling that Atma is also not the doer. Here he is telling that Atma is not the Prayojak Karta also, nor the Swatantra, the independent doer. Kam Ghatayati means Atma does not engage others in activity.
हंति का मतलब वो स्वयं भी नहीं करता,
And Hanti means Atma himself also does not do activity. So Bhagavan is negating both cases. And there is no Prayojya here.
नहीं करता नहीं करवाता,
When Atma himself is not doing anything, then
दूसरे कहने से कर नहीं रहा,
Atma is not doing on being told by somebody else.
संभव होगा कि शरीर जो है कार्य कर रहा है,
Then how is that possible that the body is functioning? This is something we have to think over.
यहाँ सोचना ऐसे है,
So we have to understand it in that way. Otherwise, we will not get any meaning out of the verse. People study the verse and they will speak it also. But if they are asked that Bhagavan is telling Atma is neither the Prayojak or Prayojak Karta, and body is acting, but body cannot act independently. If somebody dies, then the body is not functioning. If body shakes after the person is dead, then people will become scared. What happened? Because Atma anyway left that body. Then how did that body move? So there was some movie about Frankenstein. So then how is the body functioning when Atma is neither acting nor getting action done by others, but then activity is happening? So you have to answer that question. So here we have to understand that this Prayojak Karta, that is also of two types. This is important to understand. Prayojak Karta, the one who is engaging others in action, that person is of two types. One who is engaging others by actually speaking to them, or by indicating some action from the body that come here. So there also you are engaging the other person in some activity, although you are not speaking verbally, but by some bodily action you are indicating that other person to do some activity. So one is of this type, the Prayojak Karta. Mostly the Prayojak Karta engages others in action by words, by speaking, maybe on phone or by writing or by giving orders verbally or requesting or advising. There is another type of Prayojak Karta who engages just by its presence. That Prayojak Karta doesn't have to speak, but just by its presence the action happens. So like in a class, students are sitting and all are shouting, they are talking to each other. So when the teacher enters, suddenly all of them become quiet. They stand up. But the teacher did not tell the students to keep quiet, did not ask them, why are you shouting? The teacher did not order them that you should stand up and respect me. But just by the presence of the teacher, this action happens. So that is not actually a prayojak karta, because the teacher did not do anything to engage others in action, but just by the presence of that person, activity happens. So this is also one type of prayojak karta that is accepted. So Bhagwan is not considering, deliberating here on that type of prayojak karta, because in our life we generally do not work on that type of prayojak karta. So Atma, simply by its presence, by its sannidhi, makes the body conscious, infuses consciousness in the body. And when it becomes conscious, then it starts functioning. Because in body there is mind, there is intelligence, there is ahankara. So until and unless there is consciousness in that, it will not function. Like when a person is dead, then also all his senses, all the externally whatever we see is same only, but they do not function. But as long as Atma is there, then activity happens. And that happens simply by its presence. So the point is that simply by its presence it happens, but Atma is not telling, giving an order to the body to function. Atma is not ordering the body that you do this, but simply by its presence, the body is functioning. Like you have your car and uh, uh, switch it on by the key, or although nowadays that is also not necessary. If you keep the key in its place, the car automatically gets switched on. Or if there is a smart car, you don't need a driver also. Just by presence it works. So Atma is something like that. Just by its presence, it infuses conscious, the body becomes conscious and it starts functioning. So that is why Atma is neither killing anyone nor engaging other to kill. Now it depends what type of samskaras are there in that body, what type of desires are there. Accordingly, it will function. That same Atma, if it enters another body, and if the other body is the body of Sattvic person, then there will be desires of Sattvic nature. Same Atma, if you take out of that body and engage in another, put in another body which is was of tamasic person, then it will function like that. Like for Shankaracharya, it is said that when Shankaracharya ji was there, he was going around in the entire country, and he had Shastrartha with big scholars, and he had heard of Mandan Mishra, big Purva Mimamsak, staying in Mithila of Karma Kanda. He was the great scholar. So Shankaracharya ji went to do Shastrartha with him, and when Shastrartha happens, then there has to be a person who will decide who will give the conclusion who actually won out of the two. So to decide, Mandan Mishra's wife was made the Nirnayak, the who was going to give the conclusion. She was also a great scholar of Shastra. For Mandan Mishra, it is said that in his house, even the parrots used to speak of Purva Mimamsa.
जब वो शंकराचार्य जी गए, वो पूछने लगे मंडन मिश्र कहाँ पर रहते हैं, तो उन्होंने कहा कि जिसके
So when Shankaracharya ji went and asked where does Mandan Mishra live, so the parrots were speaking. So the parrots indicated that is the home of Mandan Mishra, because the parrots used to hear again and again. So I have seen this with my own experience in South India. We have a god brother, Dhir Lalita Das. So sometimes I went, there was a poor parrot in his house who died. So Dhir Lalit ji went somewhere, and I used to hear is doing kirtan. So the parrot was doing actually the kirtan in the same voice of Dhir Lalita. And when I came out of the room, then the parrot suddenly froze and he was just totally quiet. So I was surprised. And when the phone used to ring, and the parrot used to tell, yes, hello, in the same voice of Dhir Lalita. So parrot learns on its own. So the used to have fun with the parrot. So whatever Dhir Lalitji used to sing, all the prayers and the kirtan from morning, the parrot used to repeat everything in the same voice, same tune. So this shlok is actually true, what is spoken regarding Mandan Mishra. I used to think earlier that maybe somebody might have manufactured that, but then I realized it was true. So anyway, Shankaracharya ji, when he went to Mandan Mishra, he was respected, he was welcomed, because it is the dharma of Grihastha to welcome sannyasi. So Shankaracharya ji, when he was asked, what should we offer to you? He said that I want the Bhiksha of Shastrartha. So it went on for some around some 21 days. And at the end, Mandan Mishra lost in the Shastrartha. So the condition was that whoever loses, he has to accept discipleship of the winner. So now Mandan Mishra has to become disciple of Shankaracharya ji. So the wife thought that no, now I will lose my husband. So she said that, see, wife is the ardhangini of the husband. Ardhangini, so it is like considered like half body of the husband. So she said that because I am the ardhangini, only he has lost. Only half job is done. Now half job is remaining. You have to do shastrartha with me. Then she said that let us discuss on Rasa Shastra. Now Shankaracharya ji was a Vedanti. He had nothing to do with Rasa Shastra. So I have told earlier also many times that Advaita Vedanta has nothing to do with Rasa Shastra. So he was unable to answer her questions. So then Shankaracharya ji said that, see, I will give answer, but you have to give me some time. So she said, okay. So Shankaracharya ji went, he met his disciples. He said that I am leaving my body currently. You just protect that body. Within a day or two, I will come back. So Shankaracharya ji, he left that body, and a king who had just recently died, he entered the body of that king, and that became alive. The king became alive. So then whatever behavior he had been doing with the queens, so with that Shankaracharya learnt Rasa Siddhanta in that body, and then he came back to the original body. So the why I'm giving this example, in the king's body he was king. So now Shankaracharya's Atma entered into that. So now that Atma is acting according to the king only. Although Shankaracharya has nothing, is a sannyasi, he has nothing to do with any woman. But that body is doing it. He is simply observing because he wanted to learn the Rasa Shastra. So just by presence, he engaged that body in activity. So in that way, Bhagavan is telling here that Atma neither does anything nor engages others in action. So you have to understand like this. And understanding means not just in a way, just by words, but you have to experience it. You have to realize that. You have to deliberate on that. So after hearing, then you have to deliberate. You have to do manana. That what does it actually mean? How is that possible? Like I was deliberating. Otherwise, I had also read the verse. You can just finish it off there. That Atma doesn't kill, doesn't engages others on to kill, and then move to the next verse. But I did not do that. So we have to deliberate how it actually happens. So for that Atma, here Bhagavan has used three adjectives, that is Avinashi, Nityam and Ajamavyayam, four adjectives. In the previous verse, what he had told, so he is kind of like repeating only that previous verse, although repetition is a fault in Shastra. But when people do not know much, they do not understand, so then that same point has to be repeated again and again so that they understand it very clearly. It goes deep inside them, because this what we are learning here, this is out of the world, that Atma is imperishable, eternal, birthless, immutable. So here Avyaya means it is immutable. So if you consider, like, if there is, let's say, a number 1, now you can keep dividing it. Like if you divide 1 in 2 parts, so you will get half half. So then you divide a half, then 1/4, 1/4, then 1/8. So like this it will never reach an end. You can keep dividing it. It will be like an infinite decreasing series, but still it is decreasing. The quantity is decreasing, but it is not getting destroyed. So when you told that it is Avinashi and it is Nitya, but Avyaya means which does not decrease also, and Aja means which does not take birth, because that which is born will always die also. So in the upcoming verse, Bhagavan will explain that. So this is important to understand. And then in the next verse, number 22,
वासांसि जीर्णानि यथा विहाय नवानि गृह्णाति नरोपराणि तथा शरीराणि विहाय जीर्णान्यन्यानि संयाति नवानि देहि.
translation, as a person giving up worn out garments puts on new ones, so the embodied self, casting off worn out bodies, enters into other new bodies. So here Bhagavan is showing the discrimination, the difference between Atma and body. So he is comparing the body with clothes. Like we wear clothes, we have this body, and on the body we have clothes. So we do not become the clothes. We are different and clothes are different. Like we wear clothes, we can discard the clothes also. Similarly, Atma, it enters the body and it is different from the body. So the death that happens is nothing but the separation of Atma from the body. That is called as death. So here Bhagavan is telling that as a person gives up worn out garments and puts on new ones, and he does not lament for that, because the whole problem was that of lamentation, dejection only. And Bhagavan was asking, why are you lamenting? It is just like wearing clothes. If you get new clothes to wear, then you become happy. In childhood, when you used to get new clothes to wear, then we used to dance, we used to be very excited, because rarely we used to get new clothes. So in this you should be happy. If old people like Bhishma, they die and they get new body, what is there to lament? Because Arjun had asked. that how can I kill Bhishma and Drona? First of all, Bhagavan said that anyway nobody dies. So then one can say that okay, fine, it doesn't die, but at least the body gets separated. So Bhagavan is telling, fine, let the body get separated, but the Atma is eternal. So here Bhagavan is explaining by an example. So example is given. Why is it given? So that what we are trying to explain, that can be understood by others also. Drishtanta or example is that which is understood both by the Laukik, the person who is trying to understand, and the Parikshaka who is trying to explain. So both should understand that. And by the help of that example, the Parikshaka, the one who is explaining, explains that. So how Atma and body are different, it is like that, like this. With the example of garments, we can understand. So Bhagavan is telling that when the body becomes worn out, the Dehi, the Atma inside the body. So here the word samyati is what we have to understand. It enters another body. So like we have yan or vehicle. Yan is in Hindi. So the person leaves one vehicle and enters another vehicle. So Atma leaves one body and enters another body. So there is no need to lament for that. There is no need to get bewildered. It happens with everyone. There is nobody with whom it will not happen. So we should not lament for that. And here, the worn out point which is told here, it is not that a person dies only when the body gets worn out, because we do not discard clothes only when they are worn out. Sometimes it happens that we buy some clothes but we did not like that, maybe because the clothes did not fit properly on our body, so we discard that and we again buy new clothes. So similarly, when the Atma thinks that this body is not going to function anymore now, then Atma leaves that body. Sometimes somebody meets an accident, gets hurt, the person is young, the body has not become old, it has not worn out, but due to the accident it won't function now. So in Sanskrit we have jirna and kshirna, though two words. Jirna means that which becomes old, like we have jara, that is old age. Kshirna means it is like broken, torn, maybe it got burnt, broken. So sharir, the body is also called sharira because it gets worn out, it may get broken by accident, anything can happen. So it is not that death happens only in old age. Death can happen in young age also. Even children can die. Some children, they die at the time of birth itself. So it means the body was not going to function. So that's why Atma left that body, because body is given according to karma. Because of the prarabdha karma, the body is given. The body that we have received is by our prarabdha karma, and we have been given to enjoy and suffer for the results of that karma. So if that body is not going to work, then the Atma leaves and gets into another body. So we should not doubt that if Jirna is told here, that means then death should happen in old age only. That is just a general rule, because generally death happens after old age only, but it is not necessary. It can happen anytime. So we should not lament for that. So then why does lamentation happen? Lamentation happens because of attachment, because of considering it to be one with the Atma. Like if we are attached to some type, some garments, if let's say that garment, that clothes are very costly, so we are more attached to costly things. And if somebody puts some color on that, like now there is the time of Holi in Vrindavan, so you may feel bad also that you spoiled such costly clothes that I was wearing. Or if somebody tears it, so you will feel bad, you will feel angry. So why does it happen? That is because of oneness. And we have lot of oneness, the attitude of oneness with our body. Clothes, we discard the clothes and we wear new ones, so we can understand that we are different from the clothes. So we, when we understand very well that we are different from the clothes, still we have some attachment to those clothes, we have some attitude of oneness with those clothes. Like we say, these are my clothes, why did you touch them? Some people become angry for that only. We had also seen a situation like that once here. So if one's clothes touches another person's clothes, then also people become angry, become sad, especially the sadhus. So with Sharir, we have very high dose of oneness feeling because we have not seen it different from us. Some people feel it, some people can experience that, what is called out of body experience, but a common average person has not experienced that, seeing body different from him, because we have been born with it. So it is very difficult to understand that, because we have that very high dose of feeling of oneness attachment with that, and it is very very firm and it is very deep. And in body also we have two types, one is the gross and the other is the subtle one. The subtle body, in our attachment in the subtle body is much more than that in the gross body, because the gross body keeps changing, but the subtle body has been continuing since when we have been there, since anadi. So subtle body will be discarded only when we get liberated. So that's why we have more attachment in the subtle body than in the gross body. If some, that's why if somebody tells you something about your body, that see on your face there is this black color, so you don't feel much sad, you go and you just wash it away. But if somebody tells you something about your character, that you are a person of bad character, or you are a liar, or you are very arrogant, then immediately you will become very angry. Why are you telling like this to me? So why? So that is also body only, that ahankar. You have the jealousy, you are jealous, you are angry person. These things are all related to subtle body only. Like you have an outer body, and if somebody tells you you are very fat, people become upset if they are told they are fat. Earlier people used to be happy if they were told you are fat. If in my village, if somebody was told he is fat, then he became very happy, he used to think he is healthy. Nowadays healthy means one who is very lean and thin. So for gross body, if somebody tells us something, we don't feel that bad, we don't become so sad. If we are feeling looking morose and somebody says that why are you looking like this, then you don't feel so sad. But about your character, about your qualities, if somebody says something, then you feel very sad. This shows that we have different levels of attachment in the gross and the subtle body. If somebody glorifies your outer body, then you become happy, because that glorification is also going inside your subtle body. Like we have these clothes, we have these outer clothes and we have the inner clothes. Like we have outer garments, inner garments. So we have more attachment in the inner garments, although we do not feel like that. But when it comes to the body, the gross and subtle, we can feel like that. But Atma is beyond both the gross and subtle body. And because of Atma, there is attachment to these two. All the attachment is also not independent. The attachment is also because of the existence of Atma only. Because when Atma will leave the body and somebody sees from outside, and when the Atma has already now got the other body, then Atma will no longer have attachment to the previous body. So there is this katha in Bhagavatam that King Chitraketu, he did not get a son for a long time, and when he got a son by the mercy of the rishi, the sage, then the other queens became very envious and they poisoned the king's child. Then the king was very sad because when the child was born, the king had been extremely happy. So now to the degree you feel happiness, to that degree you also feel misery. So then the sage who had blessed earlier the king to get a son, it is Narad Muni and Parvat Muni, they came again to meet the king on the death of the son. So first they try to explain to the king, but when there is lot of attachment, the person doesn't understand. So then they brought the son back in that body. They brought the Atma of that son back in that body, and then the that body itself started speaking that whose son, who is father, who is mother. So when that boy started speaking like that, then King Chitraketu's his eyes opened. He realized the truth because the child himself was speaking that which father, which mother. So that means in the dead, the Atma was not having any attachment in that dead body also. Because if the Atma would have actually wanted to live in that body, then it would have got attached to that body. But the Atma had no interest to live in that body. So the Atma left that body. Like when you go and stay in a hotel, then you know that I will stay here for 2 or 3 days and then I will go away. So then you have no attachment in that room. You don't try to decorate that room. You don't go and buy new bed sheets, new plants to decorate that room. You just get your work done in that room and then you leave it because you do not have attachment in that. But the home where you stay, there also it is like a room only. But there you have attachment and you visualize it in a different way. So the attachment that we have in the body, when we will stop having attachment in the body, then we'll have no priti for it. So that's what Bhagavan is trying to explain to us here, that the way old worn out garments are discarded by a person, similarly the Atma leaves the body also. And all this happiness, misery, these are all due to that tadatmyata, feeling of oneness with the body. Because all that happiness and misery is happening in the body only. Like if your legs get hurt, so the accident happened to the feet, but we get that feeling in the mind. That happens. So if somehow or the other if somehow we can separate that relation with the feet, then we will not experience misery in the mind. The pain is still there in the body, but feel you will not feel miserable because now you have given up that feeling of oneness with it. But till you have that feeling of oneness with it, you will keep experiencing misery. And even if there is no pain there, still you can feel it. In Nyaya, we studied that if some object is there, we experience it. And if some object is, when the object is not there, then also sometimes we experience it. If snake is there, you are seeing the snake. When snake is not there, there is rope, then also you see snake in that. And if an object is not there only, and you do not see it, there is no snake, so you don't see that.
और कोई वस्तु नहीं
If
है
the object is not there,
तो भी उसमें आप
then
ध्यान कर
there
सकते
also you can have the feeling
हैं। तो
that it is
इसलिए
there.
ये केवल उस संबंध को जानने की बात है।
So it is
और
just
उसमें
about
प्रश्न है
understanding
क्या
the
अगर इस
relation.
बात को कोई जान लेगा कि मैं
So if somebody
इससे भिन्न
understands
हूँ
that I am different from the
तो
body,
क्या
I
उसको
am
वो
Atma,
अनुभूति
the
होगी या
person
नहीं?
will have that feeling, that experience or
तो
no?
ऐसा नहीं है कि
It is
उसको
not that the
अनुभूति नहीं
person
होगी,
will not have
अनुभूति तो होगी
experience. Experience, anubhuti will be
जब
there
तक आत्मा इसमें है
as long as
और
Atma
उसमें
is in the
स्फूर्ति
body
है
and there is
और
consciousness
हमारा जो है
and we
इस
have
शरीर के अंदर जो
that
अहंकार है
ahamkara
अपना
and
जो
that the aham bhava is
का
there
तादात्म्य रहता है
and there is the feeling
तो
of
ये शरीर चलता
oneness,
रहेगा
tadatmyata, the body will
और जो
continue,
भी इसको
but
अनुभव
when
कर
the
लेता है
person
तो
experiences
उससे
the
जो
truth
है फिर
of difference between Atma and
मुक्त
body,
नहीं होता,
the person doesn't become affected.
वो
He
उसको
does not fall
अनुभव नहीं
into
होता
dejection
उसका,
when something happens to his
अनुभव तो
body.
उसको भी होगा।
He will also have feeling or
इसलिए हम तो
experience.
सोचते हैं
Although some people
अगर
think
ऐसा भी संभव
that
है
it is
कि
still possible that
अपने
there are
आप
some
को अपने
yogis who
साक्षात्कारों
are
में
self-realized
दुख
and then
होता नहीं,
no sukha dukha, they do
ऐसा
not feel
संभव है,
anything, whatever may happen. That is also
ऐसे
possible.
मानव को
I
ऐसा
am not
संभव
telling that
नहीं
it
है।
is not possible,
वो तभी संभव है लेकिन जब वो
but that is
मानसिक
only
वृत्ति को
possible
छोड़ लाए,
when the yogi has immersed
लेकिन
in
जब तक
mind
वो
completely in
यही
something
है
else. But as long as he is dealing with the external environment,
अनुभूति तो
then
होगी
the feeling will definitely be there.
और वास्तव में
And
वो सुख
actually,
दुख की अनुभूति दूसरे व्यक्ति
they
से
will
ज्यादा
have
होगी
experience of happiness and misery more than other
क्योंकि
people
उनकी जो
because their
क्षमता है
consciousness
वो ज्यादा
that is highly developed,
जागृत है, वो ज्यादा
they are
जागरूक
very
है
very aware.
किसी भी विषय में, तो इसलिए वो
So
ज्यादा
because of very high
अनुभव
level
कर
of
सकते हैं,
awareness, they
लेकिन
feel
उससे
more
जो
actually. But because of that, they do
सुख
not fall
दुख
into dejection.
यानी कि
Whether it
जड़
is
सुख हो
happiness or misery, they do
उससे
not
वो
get
प्रभावित
affected by
नहीं
that.
होते
This much difference is there.
और
That
उसलिए
is what
बार
Bhagavan is trying
समझाना
to
चाहते
explain
हैं,
here.
गीता में
That
बार बार जो
time and
भगवान
again
कहते
he is
हैं कि
telling in
आत्मनो
Gita
योगुच्यते,
that
समता में रहना,
remain equipoised,
उसमें
remain
कहने का
balanced.
अर्थ यही है
So
कि
what
पहले
Bhagavan
तो
is trying to tell here
भगवान
that
द्वारा
whatever
अपने
external
जो
changes are happening around us,
उनका
we
अनुभव
will
करना
definitely
पड़ेगा,
experience
इसलिए उन्होंने कहा
them.
तिष्ठते
That's why
तिष्ठते,
Bhagavan told you
कि
tolerate
तुम्हें
them.
इसको आपको अनुभव
Bhagavan never
करना है,
said that you will not
उन्होंने कहा
feel them.
अनुभव तो
Bhagavan
सबको
is
होना
telling
है
everyone will feel,
लेकिन उस
but
अनुभव
you do
से
not become
सीखना
disturbed by those feelings, by those
केवल वो चीज बता
experiences.
रहे हैं।
That's what he is
और
trying to
इसके
explain.
लिए
And for that,
हमें इस
we have
बात को
to
ठीक प्रकार से
we have to understand this
समझना
truth
होगा
in Gita
और
properly,
समझकर उसका
and then we
पालन
have
करना
to
होगा
try to
उसके
act
अनुरूप।
according to this
तो
teaching.
यही गीता का
So this is the teaching of
उपदेश
Gita
हमें
here
यहाँ पर
that Bhagavan is
अर्जुन
giving
को
to
दे रहे
Arjuna.
हैं।
So we
तो
will
आज
stop
का
here.
पाठ
If
यहीं
you
पर
have any
समाप्त
question,
करते हैं,
you
इसमें
can
कोई
ask.
प्रश्न हो तो पूछ सकते
So question,
Pranams Babaji Maharaj.
in out of
The
body
body
experience,
experience
how
के
can
बिना इंद्रियों
experience
आदियों
happen
से
without the
मुक्त है।
indriyas, without the senses?
हैं। इंद्रियां तो
So
साथ
the
में है,
indriyas, the senses are there with you.
इंद्रियां जो है ना
Indriyas,
दो
the senses are of two types. One is
भाग हैं
external, what we
प्रकृति के,
see. They are known as
जिनको
golak.
गोलक बोलते हैं, और जो
And
इंद्रियां जिनसे हम
the indriyas, the senses by
सुख
which
का
we
अनुभव करते हैं
experience,
वो सूक्ष्म शरीर के अंग हैं।
that is different.
पहले भी बताया था कि
So
सूक्ष्म
earlier
शरीर
also I
में
had
पांच
told that
प्राण
in
हैं,
the subtle body there are five pranas,
ज्ञानेन्द्रियां,
jnanendriyas,
कर्मेंद्रियां,
karmendriyas,
मन,
mind, intelligence,
अहंकार, ये
chitta,
पांच
ahamkara, all
वस्तुएं
these are
हैं,
there.
तो उससे अनुभव
So
करते हैं।
with that we experience.
और किसी का कहीं
A question about verse 21.
So the question, okay.
There, Atma is being described as immutable, and in the previous verse it was also been referenced or described as immutable. What is the difference between these two words?
तो यहाँ अव्यय कहा है और वहाँ इम्यूटेबल किसको कहा है, पुराण को या शाश्वत को? ये प्राय करके
All these
जो शब्द
words
हैं
like these words Shashwata, all the different words Bhagavan is using, they more or less they mean same thing only. But when different words are used in Shastra, then we have to take different meanings. Otherwise, the question will be why you repeated the word. Like in Upanishad, it is said, so it is told for Bhagavan, one who knows everything, and Sarvavit also means that he knows everything. Why use the word two words Sarvagya Sarvavit? Because they, even though they mean same thing, so then you have to show difference in the two words. Because when the person who is speaking, if he knows that their meaning is same, why is the person repeating the word or using a word with same meaning? So then the commentator has to apply his intelligence, because one who is speaking, from what point he is speaking, that has to be understood. So the commentators, they apply their intelligence. Sarvagya means understanding in a general way. Sarvavit means explaining in a special way. So another meaning also can be taken. So vid is used in prapti artha also, which is there with everyone. So accordingly, difference has to be made in the meaning. So here avyaya means whose vyaya does not happen, which does not deteriorate. And there the word shashvata. I don't know which translation you are reading. Avyaya means which does not undergo any kshaya, any deterioration. Shashvat also you have to understand like that, which is eternal, which does not change, neither increases nor decreases. So like this we have to understand the difference. Although you can use them interchangeably. So next question, when the Atma leaves the body, its attachment goes away immediately or it goes away after a few days or months? So answer, generally the attachment goes away mostly that time only. But if there was very severe attachment and sudden death happened, then that is possible that for some period of time Atma hovers around there and there is attachment. That's why those 13 days period is observed.
प्रश्न है कि अगर कोई बच्चा पैदा होता है और उसका तुरंत ही देहांत हो जाता है तो फिर उसने उस
So the question, if a child dies on death, then why did the Atma select that body? So when I said the Atma selected that body, that is not in the primary meaning. Actually, you get body according to your prarabdha. There is no choice. You don't have a choice to select which body you want to enter. Nobody has that choice. According to your karma, you will have birth. Like Bhagavan says, according to the bhava, during the time of death, you get the body, the next body. Next question. If Atma does not act, how can it choose if the body is appropriate or not? Also, what does it mean that Atma is everywhere? Isn't it impersonal Brahma interpretation? The first question was already answered by me, that Atma has no choice in selecting which body it wants to enter. That is given to it according to its previous karma. And regarding the second question, the Advaitavad explanation of these verses is that Atma is everywhere. According to them, there is no difference between Atma and Brahma. Next question, when I try to engage my mind in the 9 types of devotional service, then my mind becomes disturbed and I have to put lot of effort to engage my mind in bhakti. And but when I fail, then I again doing those same things which my mind is addicted to earlier. So what should I do so that my mind doesn't become disturbed? So answer, first thing is that if your question, it will be good if you ask questions related to the subject discussed in the class. This question is not related to the class. I did not speak anything related to that. But what you should do, I can only tell you, first you have to find out why is your mind getting disturbed? Why are you feeling afraid? Because everything has a cause. Are you feeling disturbed? It doesn't happen without cause. It doesn't happen accidentally. In different situations, person acts differently, thinks differently. So why? Because there is cause behind it. So you have to consult some person expert in this field and get yourself diagnosed that why is this happening to you. You have to consult some expert who can give you proper advice why it happens to you, and then you have to find out some solution for that. Next question, after leaving the body, what goes with the atma? So answers, the subtle body goes, in which the 19 things are there which I told you. Along with that, your karma also goes. Karma is in the subtle body. According to Adhyatma, how can we understand the functioning of Atma?
आत्मा तो यहाँ बताया कि आत्मा क्रिया नहीं करता है, भगवान प्रश्न को थोड़ा स्पष्ट. So please clarify your question. What do you mean when you say understanding Atma, acting of Atma? Okay. Next question is, what is the difference between subtle body, Sukshma Sharir, and the Karan Sharir? So answer, the Karan Sharir is just the Avidya. Avidya is called Karan Sharir. Or we can say like causal body, something like that. When we are doing activities of bhakti, who is doing that? Atma is doing it or somebody else? Whether you are, so answer, whether you are doing material activities or spiritual activities, all activities happen in the body only. That is why when the sadhaka does sadhana, Sri Rupa Goswami ji has analyzed it like that only. The explanation that he has given for sadhana, he has told kriti sadhya. What is sadhya? By kriti. And it results into bhava bhakti. So kriti means our mental, verbal and physical activities. They are referred by kriti. Next question. You said that Atma is different from the body, and just by presence of the Atma, the body functions by being influenced by its nature, its samskaras. So I request you to kindly explain that mind, ahankara, intelligence, they are connected with Atma or with body, and how does the law of karma affect the jiva? So this mind, body, intelligence and all, they directly have nothing to do with the Atma. They are all related with the body. Atma simply by its presence makes everything conscious. Like another example is given, like if you have a magnet, which is called ayaskant in Sanskrit. So like if a fan is moving due to electricity, so it happens by presence, not directly. So similarly, there are some iron particles, and if they are on a table and there is a magnet below the table, if you move the magnet, the iron particles will also move without touching itself, just by presence. So similarly, Atma makes them conscious just by its presence. But Atma does not function. The others, they only function. Next question. Our Atma is a Ansha of Paramatma,
or Atma is fully Paramatma. That Bhagavan will explain in Gita itself, that Atma is his Angsha. Next question.
प्रश्न है कि आध्यात्मिक
In the spiritual world,
वर्ड में
Atma is acting to please
आत्मा जो है
Krishna.
वो भगवान को
Is
खुश
this
करने के लिए कार्य कर रहा है,
acting?
ऐसा है कि नहीं? आत्मा कार्य कर रहा है कि नहीं?
So there also you have a body. Don't you have body? There you have spiritual body. Like here you have material body. There you have spiritual body. Like you hear those who are the Nitya Siddha Bhaktas, like the gopis, they went with Bhagavan. So devotees have spiritual body, with that they serve. Next question.
पूछते हैं क्या व्यक्ति को मरने से पहले
Before dying, does a person understand that the person is leaving? So answer, yeah, some people understand that, others don't understand. It depends on your state of mind.
ठीक है, पूर्ण हो गए? और तो किसी को नहीं कुछ पूछना? ठीक है, तो प्रार्थना श्लोक। सर्वोपनिषदो गावो दोग्धा गोपाल नंदनः पार्थो वत्सः सुधीर भोक्ता दुग्धं गीतामृतं महत्। एकं शास्त्रं देवकी पुत्र गीतम् एको देवो देवकी पुत्र एव एको मंत्रस्तस्य नामानि यानि कर्माप्येकं तस्य देवस्य सेवा। कार्पण्यदोषोपहतः स्वभावः पृच्छामि त्वां धर्मसम्मूढचेताः। यच्छ्रेयः स्यात् निश्चितं ब्रूहि तन्मे शिष्यस्तेऽहं शाधिमां त्वां प्रपन्नम्। यत्र योगेश्वरः कृष्णो यत्र पार्थो धनुर्धरः तत्र श्रीर्विजयो ध्रुवा नीतिर्मतिर्मम। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविंदाय नमो नमः। नमः पंकजनाभाय नमः पंकजमालिने नमः पंकजनेत्राय नमस्ते पंकजांघ्रये। भवे भवे यथा भक्ति पादयोस्तव जायते तथा कुरुष्व देवेश नाथस्त्वं नो यतः प्रभो। नाम संकीर्तनं यस्य सर्वपाप प्रणाशनं प्रणामो दुःखशमनस्तं नमामि हरिं परम्। हरि ओम तत्सत्।